a tool that will help us to work much better with the kids or with our players. And it doesn't mean that everything that we learn or we become better in learning or we know much more will help us to become more successful coach or teacher. So when I said from the beginning to the top, I will try to summarize and to explain to you my idea and genesis of me as a player. After that, I finished University of Sport and Physical Education, and I am now on PhD studies where I already have published my paper, and probably until the end of this year, I will become, unfortunately, one of the very small, if not the only one, PhD in volleyball regarding this field, which is sad. But my main knowledge or my main question was, I want to give back something to volleyball, and I will try to help work and production of the kids, which means in study of development that is very important, very fundamental, very challenging today. We have to know everything from the beginning till the end. And what I want is to help coaches and teachers to analyze and understand better what kids they have, what players they have, and help them with multiple approach to find themselves inside of volleyball field. Volleyball gives me everything. So to answer to this question, first of all, I had to educate myself, and then to organize a workshop, which is my international camp, where 2,000 kids already have been tested. So all that I'm speaking about will be based on the results that we have an experience of 3 years and 5 camps that we have. So let's start. First of all, work with kids, learn the principles of the goal of health. I don't see very well Gary here because I have good for proper kids development, which is the goal should not be the sport itself. It has to be health, because you will see and you will understand later on going. Many of the coaches are coming from the top level sport, and their experience is coming from top level sport. So they are sport and success or result oriented. Child is not an athlete, and it has its own personality. So when we are starting to work with the kid, we have to understand what material we have in front of us. We already presume that this kid has sport culture and he will work as we are expecting to, that he will, so he will understand everything that that we are telling to him. Unfortunately, now worldwide, there is a short-term vision. Money, most of all, which is monthly fee, or position orientation are mostly justified with the results. So this brings to competitive sport already in a young age and very narrow specialization. Early specialization is when we are trying to teach the kids that not even have learned the skills well, not even are prepared well. We are teaching them tactics. So for us, it's very important to gain results. And this is very wrong model to work. The development has to be based on 360 degrees approach. Sport, as I said, should not be the ultimate goal, but sport is a tool to achieve the goal. Goal is a health. So program and work principles that unfortunately 99.9% of the coaches he's practicing are 40 years old. So we are learning from those before us, we are stealing from those before us, and we have copy-paste principle. So we don't have anything new. Now try to imagine that, just to question yourself. We are working as our parents was working in sport. And kids have changed a lot. No PE, no physical education as it's supposed to be. Kids are much different. I will give you just some simple examples. 96% of the kids have some orthopedic issues. And diabetes have grown for 1,500% in the last 20 years, and especially type 2. So these are not kids with healthy food, healthy growth, playing outside, etc., etc., etc. This is completely different. Load level of exercise and end principles are not in line with capabilities of the kids. Coaches are addicted to exercises that gives them self-confidence. So they say, for example, this exercise has given me results, so I will do this exercise. No matter if this exercise is not applicable to kids or the level of the players. This will allow you, or this will guide you to big number of the injuries, and many kids will give up from the sport. Why? Because it's not just injuries, that they are not prepared to maintain this level of effort. It's this kind of stress that we are giving them pressure to results and to fulfill our goals. Kids don't like and don't enjoy anymore to play sport, so they just give up. We will speak about this, especially in which moment. I will give you exactly what sports science says. Prejudice is the biggest enemy of knowledge and improvement. And please, dear friends, I will call you dear friends, prejudice is the biggest enemy of knowledge and improvement. You have to question yourself. Nobody knows everything. Okay. And maybe something that we have done today will not be good for tomorrow. That's why we have to learn and try to do everything every single day to renew and refresh our knowledge. So today still we have the program which is strictly sport oriented toward competition. So too many coaches, competition, 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 competition. We have time, and you will see when we can start to speak about competition. There is a strong insertion of exercises and principles which bring stress in young age. And trust me, this is something that it's big cause why the kids renounce to stay in sport. There is a very big expectation from coaches and parents. And only about this we could speak maybe 5 hours. Why? Because parents would like from their kid to become the best athlete in the world. Coaches selling them lies, saying that, don't worry, just bring this kid to me and I will make him the new Michael Jordan, which is a lie. But parents believe that, so they are expecting from the kid to become Michael Jordan, which of course will not happen. So kid will stop with the sport and will never practice any sport, not even for recreation anymore. Parental interference in training process and sick ambition. I could write the book about it because many parents didn't succeed in anything. So they would like their kids to succeed in what they didn't. So this absolutely will damage your kids, or will damage the kids in emotional and psychological way. And you will see afterward that this is much more important than physical approach. Insufficient preparation of coaches or coaching staff for the work with the kids and youth is something that is very often is happening. Why? Because worse coaching are working with the younger categories. This doesn't mean that I'm offending you saying that you are bad coach because you are working with the kids. No, I'm saying what is happening worldwide. Because normally the coaches which are better, they go to higher categories, they get bigger salaries. So who we will have for younger categories? Somebody who have to go down. So to work with kids, it's much more challengeable than work with adult senior players. Because mark my words, everything that you do with the kids is like writing on the white clean paper. Everything you write on stays in their mind. First coach is deciding 80% of what kid will be in the future, not only in the sport, but also as a personality and the character in the life. So that's why I'm saying the last line, work with kids is a mission. It's not just a simple job. You have to be teacher, you have to be the coach, you have to be the parent, everything in one. Because your responsibility is not only sport, it's much bigger. So what's going on? Normally, it's happened with a negative selection within kids. Those who have money, they are coming for sport. Especially they have more money, coaches are pushing them to play more. Why? Because the parents are throwing the money. So we will have that good kids with talent that doesn't have a money, which normally happens. They don't have any opportunity to develop and play. So we are in a lack of quality in real selectional level. The content of training is boring. What means that? We are teaching the kids exactly how the skill had to be, exactly how the forearm pass. Hey guys, techniques. We are learning entire career. I will tell you the setting of the ball. You know when I improved after I finished my career and I went to university. Why? Because this technique is very difficult. We are not like football. We are not like basketball. We are not like other sports. This is why many kids are renouncing to play volleyball, because our technique is difficult. And coaches must find a way for trainings for kids not to be boring. And unfortunately, this is what actually is happening in the entire world, not only in Ireland, not only in Europe, in the entire world. And that's why I'm saying what we have to do is not teach kids how to play and use volleyball skills, but how to communicate and express themselves inside of the volleyball field. That's why I say this is the mission. Now, the program must be more interesting than content of the phones. Kids today are just like, I'm using the phone. This tool is not an enemy. There is no fight with the tool, because this is the tool. This is not the live thing. So what we have to do is to find a way for our training to be fun. Okay, so if there is a fun, trust me, on my camp, kids are not using the phones. They are inside all day long. When we are fighting on my camp for one kid's smile, pleasure and creativity on the field. And we do that by helping them, supporting them, cheering with them, and preventing fear. Why? Try to ask yourselves, okay, not only when you were kids, also today, what is the biggest fear when you are in the field or when you are on your working spot? To make mistake and to fail. For the kids is the same. So what we have to help them, it's not to maintain ourselves out of possibility to make mistakes. No, to make mistakes. Why? Because the coaches need to see the mistakes and to know what is there for correction. We have to support them and challenge them to make mistakes. So I say always one important thing. Your job is to make mistake. My job, my job is to tell you your mistake is my mistake. So in this way, you are helping me to understand in which way I have to organize the activity so we will get over these mistakes together. So we have to build up adequate balancing, pedagogical triangle in between parent, kid, and coach, not interfering in authority of the coach or in the parent. No to parental interference in training process and work of the coach. Absolutely no. Now, try to mark my words. Parents are important because their support is important, but until certain line. Never allowed parents to cross this line because the field is for the coach and the kids, and that's it. My father, he worked in a village where he select kids in different groups like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, which means third, fourth, because in Serbia it's like this, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, and eighth class. Okay, 3 different coaches. Once, only once, the parent come to him and wanted to ask him about how my little boy is going. He said, once again, you come to me, I will kick out you and your son. That's it. Never again. Today times are much more different, and mostly the coaches are falling into this trap because the parents are paying. So to have parents, we are ready to compromise, to speak with them, etc. But then we have much bigger problem. And this is what actually is happening. No interference. Parent has to be parent and support, and coach has to be the coach and support inside of the field. This is something you have to mark to yourself. Constant education of the coaches for work with the kids, because the kids are changing constantly, and you will see now, we will speak about it. Selection of the kids by capabilities and introduction of all kids in the game. If you separate the kids, it's okay to make homogeneous group by capabilities. Okay, but kids already seen in between them, there are some differences, so they start to ignore each other. We have achieved great success with kids with intellectual disability by doing unified sport, partners, and athletes. This will develop patience, tolerance, collaboration, social maturation for the kids, which is fundamental not only for sport, but especially for after later life. This is the school of life that sport can give, and we have to use. Training content has to be based on the game, and this is the warranty to keep kids in the sport. Gives possibility to the coaches to understand all aspects of the world personality. Why? When you learn psychology, it says like this: the game is all-around activity where the teacher or the coach can recognize all the aspects of the character of the kid. So, kid is expressing himself by communication, vocally and with his body, with his movement to other kids. So then maybe you can understand inside of the field exactly what is the real character of the person. And I can assure you, also as a professional, as a player, I can tell you that I get to know the character of many players and many persons exactly like this. Now, what we have to do? Adequate coach selection. We have to do primary tests for the kids, so we understand who the kids are. Never start any kind of work before you test the kids, because maybe you can start working with kids. Kid has some problem and you can cause damage. Absolutely no. Program you can base on obtained results. So at least we can program what are the steps to work with the kids. We create homogeneous groups, so kids are more or less, they have the same program, they are with the same capabilities. Introduction in the training, first 30 minutes, you will see later on, is based on orthopedics and motor development exercises. Why? My friends, we teach kids setting of forearm pass. They have problem with their back and they cannot push the ball. And we are keeping to explain them that they have to take the position high and they have problem on the back. So first of all, we have to prepare hardware for our software. If the hardware is on the place, then for software is everything easy. Okay, it's not about the kid capability or no. Maybe there is some mechanical issue that kids just simply cannot do that. So orthopedic prevention help us for the postural status, and motor development are helping us for the engine that can maintain our body for the effort that we have to give. Okay, then methodical introduction of the kids through the elements of the sport. Main part of the training is game with element topic of the day. What that means, when we want to teach them the new skill, we will have as a topic this element, but always remember through the game, always. That's the best way for them to teach. Every next training, we make connection with the training before. So they have, and they reconnect with the day before that we have done. This is a Bible. This in the front of you is the Bible of the sport and development of the kids in the sport. This is LTAD of Istvan Bali. I question it, but main thing is very true. And this is kids from 0 to 6 can practice basic sports, swimming, gymnastic, athletics. From 6 to 9 is additional, or they are addicted for motor development, coordination. 6 to 8 girls, 6 to 9 boys. So this is the period when mostly we use polygons and elementary game. Coordination will become the main motor capability to develop. Girls 8, 10 and boys 9, 11, or you will see later on, addicted to ball sports. So here we are. This is volleyball. So this is the age that most of the kids are starting with the volleyball. And something which is very important, at the end of this period, where it's 10 or 11 years, kids are for the first time falling from this pole. We call it first critical period of fall from the sport. Why? This phenomenon, not even in psychology, was not very well researched, but most of the thing is connected with hormonal maturation, because kids are becoming, they are entering in puberty, 1. 2, the growth is starting to be much more faster. They come mentally much more capable to understand, are they talented or no for certain sport, or normally they fall out if they believe they are not good. On a lot of cases, parents are putting pressure on them, and of course coaches, because they want kids for the salary. So they maintain them into the sport against the will of the kids. What is proven is that these kids who stays in the sport against their will, there are 2 things. They are addicted to violence and to use of doping. So mark also these 2 words. What is supposed to be done is to maintain kids with the program. So for them, social environment is much more important than their capability, because there is a place for everyone. Now we are entering in the first period where is addiction to development of technical skills of the sport. I'm not speaking only about volleyball. I'm speaking about all ball sports. 10, 15 for girls and 11, 16 for boys. And we still here have skill stratification, which means somebody will become more capable, somebody will become less capable, and big number of the kids will fall out also here. Okay, then we have two periods where is already, we can call it sport orientation. This is 15-20 for girls and 16-21 for boys. Trainings are already become more competitive. There are insertion of tactics, but also physiological development, functional development. So we are building their body through the skills of volleyball and conditional training. And then we have professional orientation, 18 for girls and 19 for boys. So just to come back quickly, before 15 for girls and 16 for boys is FUN, is fun. There is no competition. There is no tactics. If you do something regarding tactics, etc., you are bringing kids inside of the car before he get the license. And this possibly will drive them to go out of the road. They need to get their chocolate at the time, not before. Okay. Everything that I said now, a very important thing is pay attention on chronological and biological age. These two things are, one, chronological age is how many years you have. Biological age is what is actually your body based on biology, what age is it? Maybe you can have chronologically 13 years, but biologically you are 11, which means you mature later. And maybe with 13 you have already 15 biologically, which means you have matured before. But we will speak about this later on. So this is what I was speaking before. You have physical literacy and you have active for life. So we have fundamental movement skills, fundamental sport skills. Then we are building physical and mental capability to arrive to high performance sport. So as you see here, we have active start, 0 to 6. We have fundamentals, and fun is made as you see here with the big letters. It also supposed to be here and here, but unfortunately it's not like that. So we will go just fast through this. As you see here, we were speaking about the things before, and you have here everything on the picture. Okay, so this is also something connected with beginning with the physical development, and this is the model for females. Okay, girls mature a little bit before boys, but also if you see the differences are not so big. For example, these are for the boys and this is for the girls. There is not big difference. Boys are just a little bit, they are coming just a little bit later, but it's also good to know. This is not something that you have to know everything, guys, absolutely no. But regarding the group and the age you will go to face, you have to know characteristics of that age. Okay, so these are the boys, and this is coordination. So as you see, most of the things are the same. And as you see, main things are until certain age. Why I speak about coordination specifically? Because of this, what's coming next. Development of coordination depend on development of the nervous system. Until age of 6, neural system arrive at 60% of development. Until 12 years is on 90. So guys, what we do from 6 or from 7 until 12, that's it. That's it. Because the remaining 10% depends on heritage, conditions, exercises, etc., etc., etc. So we have to pay attention that it's not volleyball that make difference in young age. It's how we create kids regarding their development of motor skills, regarding their approach to the game. So when they arrive once to be ready for playing volleyball, they have done everything what's supposed to be. So same program principles are for exercising in the first phase of adaptation of the sport skill, because the capability of mastering of volleyball technique is directly conditioned with coordination capabilities, and then in the same time with development of nervous system. So exercises of coordination are improving development of all motor skills. And not rarely, we say that coordination is indicator of talent. Okay, not rarely. So this is how the training is supposed to be done. We have introduction part, which is composed with orthopedic and motor development polygon, 30 minutes of exercise, which means 15 orthopedic, 15 motor skills. Now, before training, coach has to explain to the kids what they will do. Talking to the kids will be fundamental. In the main part, we have the main goal or element or skill to learn. How we do it? We do it through the game most of the time, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, but never more than 4-on-4. Why? Because we need more contacts with the ball or with the balloon, whatever we do. So then there is a sense to do it. In a final part, it has to be a relief or relaxing game similar to volleyball, or part of it with the technical element that we have learned. So it has to be like, I'm giving you the task, okay? And this task will award you if you do it with the skill that we have learned, or you have to learn. So what is the result? Kids are coming back to you because they want to learn the technical skill. Why? Because they want to win. So we are not putting the pressure on them with, no, you have to come under the ball, so you have to make the triangle and the ball has to fall. No, too many informations. Do not correct the kids, only if there is really something extreme. Let them be. Let them be, let them have fun. Okay. After this, it's coming the short talk about how was good, etc., 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 and always congratulate you. This is not permissive education. Okay, this is not giving to the kids whatever they want. No, this is helping kids to understand why they should love volleyball. So now, before we go, Gary, you will prepare. I will show you now what kind of exercises we are doing on my camp. These exercises are introduction part, and this is something that we are doing often with the kids who are coming on my camp. This lasts 4 minutes, so enjoy. These are the tests that we do at the beginning of the camp, always. It's functional movement screening and core fitness analysis in orthopedics, movement, etc. These are the exercises, mostly of the balance, proprioception, reinforcement, and if there are some specific problems, also too. As you see, we use the balls. This is Olympic champion Alexander Volkov. He was also on my camp for rehabilitation. And these are the exercises in the water. This is also something that we have done, and also on the sand. Sand is fantastic because it's fantastic proprioceptive platform. So it helps a lot for movimentation of the feet, and it helps a lot. So we go for the next slide now. If you don't mind, Gary, just to show these 3 videos before we start with the. I want to show you because now we have from 4 to 10 years exercises with the balloon to make you understand why it's important to work with the kids in this way.
Can you see that, Vladimir?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So this is my oldest daughter with my son 4 and my daughter 8 years. Why I use balloons and why I prefer use balloons? Because balloons give the kids time to come under the balloon and play it. So it's not like using the ball, but it's using the tool that we like to play. Now, this is also something I do with them. I pretend I'm angry or something like that, so they trick me. Kids have fun playing with adults. Uh, you have to use this. If for them it's fun, they will be ready to play 10 hours a day. Okay, so this is something that it's very, very, very nice, and have always that in your mind. Balloon will help you for kids to move with their feet, because normally most of the kids just stay put and they just swing with their hands. They don't move with the legs. And actually the main engine, and we will speak about that in the next session, main engine are the legs. And legs has to push the ball mostly. Now, I play with my son, uh, and he's imitating me in every single sense. So we didn't let the balloon to fall. He was moving all right. And this is kid 4 years old. So just imagine what you can do possibly with the kids who have 4 years. I entered in the kindergarten of my daughter when she was 4 years old with the 30 balloons, and I played with 30 kids. Her teacher told me that they have problem because the parents are preaching, because for 1 month constantly um, they they ask them to play with the balloons, which means that actually the result was that kids wants to play, and for them was fun. So that's very good. So I have to reshare again, right or no?
Yep, sure, yep. If you just share your screen again.
Okay, so yeah, here we are. Okay, good. So what age is to start volleyball? Mainly, as you remember, we said 8, 10, 8 years for girls, 9 years for boys. It could happen. It could be even before, but you have to understand it's not practicing volleyball. It's gaming and enjoying volleyball. It's introduction to volleyball, which is a game and must have ensembles of the game, not of the sport. Some psychologists said sport is there is no nature of the sport. It is good and bad also. No, it depends on us. If we treat kids with the sport in the right way, sport will always be positive. Always introduction of orthopedic and motor development polygon. It's the basic of prevention of the kids not to get any kind of injuries. Beginning is never more than 15 minutes for main part, teaching new elements. So only 15 minutes, not more. After this game, they have similarities with the volleyball or some part of the technique that we have to learn. Then we have, now this is the general program. This is the general program that you or I propose to do. 8-10, which means also for boys 9-11, is basic ground technique, forearm pass and setting with minimum correction. So we are not teaching the kids to have the proper position, as I said. Absolutely no. We are teaching them the movement. For example, I know that there was a kid having like this position, not symmetric, but the ball was going always perfectly at the spot. So the coaches wanted to bring the hand exactly again, symmetric. And what happened? The ball started to go out in there. Simply, every one of us have individual technique. We have to help them to find it, not on behalf of our thoughts, but on behalf of their biomotricity. Okay, then we have age 11, 12. we have the same program as we have age 8, 10, with introduction in the net elements, which means correct approach to the net. Most of you know that the Russian schools start to teach kids spike and block with age 11, 12. And this is something that already Russian scientists have proven why. This is because physiologically they are becoming ready to support this, let's say, stress on the soft tissue. But always at the beginning, prepare the soft tissue for the stress. Age 13, 14 has the same program as age 11, 12, with introduction of the net element correction approach to the net and spike technique. So this is upgrading of the program of 11, 12. Within age 15, 16, we already have program of 13, 14 with elements of the game with functional development. So here for the first time, we are speaking about functional development, about what we were speaking before. And age 17, 18 is the same program with element of the game with the task and functional development. What means functional task? Now remember, as I said, 15, 16, we are starting to give to our kids on the spoon the stress of the games and task. Not among everything, but slowly on the spoon. So we are preparing them and we are striving with them to start to eat the stress slowly. So if we prepare them to enter inside slowly, they will handle that without any problem. Now, I will ask you one thing. When you ask the kid 11 years and he is in the serve, what do you think what they are thinking? What's inside of the head? Only two things. One is not to make mistake, or I will make mistake, and the other is just to put the ball on the other side. And trust me that nothing is changes. Also on the level of 30, I ask the professional players, they say when they are reception, 5 shitty answers also. So, unfortunately, this is like that. These are the functional charges by age. 9, 12 years, 3 times 1.5 hours per week with first 30 minutes of what I said, orthomotorical preparation. Age 13, 14, 4 times per 2 hours per week, and 15, 18, 5 times 2 hours per week. This experience is based on tests of 2,000 kids on my 5 camps in 3 years of testing. And these results are can be on population. Why? Because 35 countries, all continents. So these results are for all kids from all around the globe. Okay. According to biological and chronological age and their difference, there are danger of early specialization and overload because of lack of knowledge. We see the kid that he is ready. He already have a muscles. He's 13 years, but he already have a muscles. The beard start to grow here. He's ready, let's go. And what's happening? He gets injury, or, which is worse, 15, he's same 185 or 6 feet. And the guy who matured later goes on 205 and he was 170. But the problem is that the guy of 185, we put to play middle blocker. So we cannot change anymore. So until 16 years, they all have to teach or learn all elements of volleyball. Most individual, most universal. Premature introduction of tactics give result, but kids lose on a learning and gradual maturation of the improvement. We need patience. I know that is difficult, but we need patience. So as I said, mature before, they have premature load, early specialization, and premature giving up. Johnny, which had my age, he started with age 16. He finished 8 years before me. Okay, and he was one who matured before. Maturing later means longer learning of technique elements, but there is a problem with emotional nature. Why? Because the kids who mature later, they see the kids with same age who have hair, beard, the muscle, they think they have some problem. And it's very difficult to explain to them that they are lucky, that they have more time to learn and more time to improve. I know because I had the same problem. So I know what I was passing through. Evaluation and conduction of the program, it's not only based on program and test results. Test results and the program are the tool. And what we have to do is to see our kid, and on behalf of what is happening in the front of us, we have to conduct the program. These are like guidelines to be corrected by us. And this is just feedback to understand, are we in good direction or not? Most important element of education of the kids through the sport is their emotional and psychological stability and capacity. And if you are doing, as I said, giving them support, trying to work on a large base in 360 degrees, helping them to understand that mistakes is a part of the game. It's okay to make mistake. It's okay to feel fear, how to canalize fear, how to focus on what you have to do, etc., etc., etc. You will helping them to mature emotional and psychological. And this is how we create stable personality that can be only complete personality for life, not only for sport. So I was a little bit longer because for the first time, but I am ready for the questions.
Perfect. Vladimir, thank you so much for that. Covered an awful lot of topics and areas in that, and I think it gives us a great flavour, an overview of what's to come over the next few weeks in terms of building upon the key stages of long-term athlete development. So we have a good range of questions coming in, and I'll start with Mikhail, who is asking. It was one of the questions you had, one of the comments you made early on around Istvan Bali's long-term athlete development model, which obviously we talked about. Yes. And you mentioned that there are certain elements that you disagree with.
Yes.
Can you perhaps elaborate on which elements that maybe aren't aligned to your own?
Look, maybe I can go out from the. I will stop share this because I believe now it's better to. So I can see you. You can see me better now.
Yeah, sure.
Istvan Bali program is chronological. Okay. And when I put there is those who mature before and those who mature later. Okay. Now, he's speaking also deeply in sensitive and critical periods of development of motor skills. And development of motor skills in his theory are connected with chronological age.
Okay.
The only way to be sure that it's happening sensitive period of velocity if we measure it and we understand and see very big growth in velocity or in strength or in resistance. So actually we can be sure that this is happening only if we measure the kids and we understand it. That's why the tests are very important. Sometimes the things are happening in 1 month or 2, but physiologically changes are happening in 3 months. Okay, why? Because our body is working like that. There is a process of 3 and 7. You will understand if you work on physiology, you will understand why. So my program would be based, or my idea is in conduction of the program is to test the kids every 3 months. So we will exactly understand if there was strong change, so we know that kid is exactly in that period. Okay, so and we can understand the changes. So we can also understand our kids. And what you do, you can get the model. Because if there are the new kids who are coming and their pattern is similar to somebody, maybe we can have the progression to understand where this kid will go. So we can predict his direction of going. So I'm not saying that Istvan Bali's theory is wrong. No. I'm saying that she needs renewal and refreshment, which will follow the main thing, which are testing to be sure 100%.
Okay, thanks for that. So on the testing then and the data that you would gather at the start of the program, Ali is asking, you know, if there's a certain weakness perhaps is found or an area for development is found from the testing, how much does that then impact the training for that player?
Now, first part of the training is dedicated for the improvement, orthopedic prevention, and motor development. If there is a lack of velocity, strength, resistance, coordination, agility, whatever, in the first part, exercises are indicated in this sense. So after 3 months, when we retest the kit, we will understand, did this exercise is done the progress or no? For example, on the camp, I have some kids who are coming for 5 weeks. So we test them the first week and we test them the last week. So we understand in 5 weeks, did they make some progress? Not only in postural status, but also in motor development. You know, so this will be our indicator. Did we do the job done well or no? Otherwise, if we are teaching the kid volleyball skills and we are not thinking about motor development, that's not good, because kid will not give us the result, not even in volleyball. And this is not consequence because he's incapable or we are not good coach. It's because simply we have forgotten that the kid need to develop the hardware.
Okay, so this leads me on to another question, which has actually come in 3 or 4 times. So there must be lots of people with the same issues. And they're asking, what do you do in the situation where maybe a child comes to your session, joins a club, who's maybe 12, 13 or 14 years old, who doesn't have perhaps the adequate fundamental movement skills or doesn't have the basic volleyball skills? Where do you start in that respect?
You know, I will tell you just one thing. Srećko Lisinac is one of the best world blockers, middle blockers. He started to play volleyball with 16 years. Guys, if you work on coordination, if you do on motor development, and if you do proper development of the kid, of the athlete, trust me, there is time to learn volleyball skills. Okay? Don't think that volleyball is not like a tennis. If they don't start with 6 years and with 7 he doesn't start to play well, he's done. No, it's not like that. Even in tennis, it's not like that. You know, when they say to me, how many tons did you have for training before Sydney? I said 32. But if you were working with 20, would you be an Olympic champion? I said, probably yes, but I don't know, because I have done that with 32. So it's another theory to reveal. There is not unique path. There are many paths. The very important thing is to embrace the path that you are believing into. It's important to arrive at the end. When the kid come with, I have kids who are coming to my camp that have never played volleyball for the first time. We are making introduction in volleyball to them in the easiest way possible. Same thing through the game. They are starting with the group that is on that level more or less, but he is not clinched inside of that group. As his progress go with the technique, he will go to higher group. And that's it. It's very simple. Don't be connected just and exclusively on one thing. you have to give them patience. Okay. They need to feel one fundamental thing, your trust and your faith. If you fail in this, they will not trust you and they will give up. And most of the kids are giving up because they lose their trust in themselves and everything.
Okay, interesting stuff. We have a question here from Jenny and Jeff King. They're asking, what are your views, and I think I can guess the answer, but what are your views on teenagers playing multiple sports?
Now, we have to understand that teenagers are teenagers. They like to try many stuff. I played basketball, handball, football, volleyball, tennis. I also play with my friends hockey on grass. My father at a certain point told me, you can play whatever you want, but you will play volleyball. And that was not something that was obligation. He simply saw me, So when you have intender, somebody who understands kids' capabilities, kids' construction, his mentality, his psychology, it's very easy to indicate him the way that he has to go. Or if he's not talented or he don't have addiction to some kind of sport, what sport he should practice for his mental and emotional health. Let them be. Let them play. But talk to them, because teenagers don't like to talk. So give them, just throw them the ball and listen to them. For many things and many occasions, they will tell you what is passing through their heads. And you will understand. It's not easy, I know. And more of the occasions, they go where their companions go. If everybody goes to volleyball, everybody goes to football, everybody goes to I don't know what. They are like that in this period. But listen to them. Watch them. Spend time with them. And try to understand what are the addiction, where they would like to go, what they would like to do, who are their idols, where they see themselves. And you will get the answer.
Okay, we have a question from Jana, who is involved with a club here in Dublin, as well as our national teams. And Jana is asking, in training, how do you find the right balance between a kid's enjoyment and pushing them to work hard and to improve their skills? How do you get that balance right? Or is there a balance? Should the two things...
Pushing them is already wrong. Okay, now, I will give you an example. On my camp first year, I brought the coach of girls. And he's working, he worked a lot of time with the juniors. And then he started to work with the seniors, with competition team. And he was like, coming. He was yelling a lot, shouting at the girls, etc., etc., etc. He was very hard. And then he came to my camp. And I told him like this, listen, to all coaches, listen, this camp is not about you to show how capable you are, how good coaches you are. You don't have to earn your salaries. You don't have to justify investment or budget. There are no medals to win. What I want from you is my kids to be happy. 2, my kids to love staying here. If we have this, you will see them grow and improve in an incredible way. So we had a training, so he gave them a simple exercise. They were tired. So he started to be upset because they couldn't do something. So I came to him and said, give them water. So he said, okay, stop, go to water. He was nervous. So I said, listen, now you go and take water and just let me talk with them. I will just take over just a little bit. Okay, okay, good. So they came back and I asked them, girls, are you tired? No. Girls, you are tired. Yeah, okay, good. Listen, let's have a fun. Okay, I will split you in threes on this side and the other side. What I want from you is just to focus on one thing. We will play 3 against 3 from the second line. At the beginning, just try, if it's possible, to hit the ball exactly at the girl on the other side. Not be in between, but try to just hit the girl on the other side. Okay? Okay. They start to have mistakes and etc. 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 I said, come on, girls, don't be like that. You don't have to cook. You don't have to get married. Come on, just chill out, relax. I can tell you this, after 2 hours and 10 minutes, that they supposed to be tired. They wanted to stay more 1 hour. They played, they crushed themselves against the parquet. They were running everywhere. Sometimes the trainings do not come as we thought or as it was the program. Sometimes you just simply have to invent something for them to bring the best of them. This is the mastery of working with the players, working with the people, trying to draw out from them the best of them, even when the situation is tough. So in this way, if you go through fun, they will give you even more they have, always. Trust me, I try that. So for example, when I work with them, I take the basket with the balls. So I start they enter in 2. So I start to throw the balls and ball cannot fall. Even if they are dead, they are smiling and they are running behind every single ball. They are like that, you know. So it's always to understand who needs to be supported and who needs to be pushed. Come on, you are not capable. You cannot do this. Who, me? Come on. It's always to understand what kind of players you have. So the training for one group doesn't mean that it should be good for another group. Normally, coaches are connected to exercises. Exercise is a tool like a phone. Exercise is not the warranty of the success. You have to use it. So depending on what kind of team you have, this exercise should be modified.
So I'm gonna ask you a personal question now, Vladimir. You talked then about certain players, teenagers need a pat on the back or a more of a pushing. What were you when you were kind of 15, 16, 17 years old? What did you need from your coach to make you a better player?
Well, I had a father as a coach, so there was no or can I. Absolutely, it was a military, and even if I was scared, even if at the moment I was like tired, even if at the moment I wanted to give up, I couldn't, because of him, because his authority was something beyond imagination. You just cannot imagine what he was for me. He was my idol. He was the athlete I was always following. His physical strength and his principles are something that are inspiration for me even now. Simply for me, when he was in the field, I didn't want to fail him. And if you create this kind of relationship with the players, that they respect you as authority, that you don't have to scream, but what you say is exactly like that, you will gain their trust incredibly. Now, there is also one very important thing, and I wanted to speak about that when he's age 17, 18, or older, but I will say it now. When you work with the men's, you have to understand that we are like wolves. We are the pack of wolves. We have alpha, which is main authority. And what alpha do in the morning? He wakes up, he stretches himself just to show how big he is. If somebody tried to question him and his position, he starts to bark and everybody's shocked. So betas and gammas and everybody else are coming down in the pyramid until the base of the pyramid. And those who are the base of the pyramid, they try to bark to go up. Everybody likes to climb. So unfortunately, men's didn't go much further than animals. But that's why it's very easy in boys to throw the challenges, to make them improve themselves. From 0 to 100, it's like this. And you have to know, when you work with the boys, you have to know. With the girls, it's completely different thing. They need to get in love with authority. And everything is based on trust and emotional level. Because for them, it's emotional stability that makes the difference. When the girls trust you, they will go against the wall if you tell them to go. They will hit with the head against the wall. They will go all in the blood and they will say, you see, nothing happened. So that's why you can draw from the girls 150%. But you cannot lose their trust. Because if you lose their trust, there is no coffee to make peace. That's it. With the men's is different, but with the girls, it's like that. So you have always is much more with the girls, how to guide them, how to make them secure and sure in the field. Their emotional stability is much more important than everything else. So if you work with the girls, you have to know that.
That kind of brings me on to a couple of questions that have come in around developing strong mindsets, because you talked earlier about developing, mental capabilities and stable personalities. And I know we have another 3 sessions and we're going to go into the different ages in more detail. But because the questions have come in, I'm kind of wondering, what do you do to develop those strong mindsets? And is there any particular activities that you do to develop stronger personalities?
It's improvement. It's always improvement. Every single day improvement. First of all, one of the things is the motivation. Why the kids or players are playing the sport. I started to play the sport because of my father. With 5 years, I went to the gym, following him, watching his playing. I was admiring him. I was admiring all sport athletes, and I was imagining one day to become one of them. That my country and my people is proud of me. So when he won the medal in the European Championship in 1973, 1975, I took his medal and I took his shirt and I was imagining climbing on the chair. I was imagining that I'm the Olympic champion. We need faith. We need to believe in something. We need to strive and have strong dreams. But dreams without goals are just dreams. And not to remain just dreams, we need commitment to start, and we need to continue to fight every single day to achieve what is 0.01% better than yesterday. What we need is consistency. Now, also, all of these things have to teach the kids since they are young in age. Why? How you can teach the kid to prevent the fear? Fear is there, it's emotion and very strong emotion. By telling him how to focus on what he has to do. Not the thing that he will make mistake, that he will lose, but step by step process how he have to focus on what he have to do. In this way, he will gain self-confidence in what he do, and he's growing mentally and emotionally stable. This is a process. This is not something that it's coming overnight. And unfortunately, when I was saying at the beginning that technology of the sport is very old, I understand that kids with 11 years that I speaking with them about serve, for example, what they are thinking and thoughts of 30 years players which are on the serve are the same. They are thinking of not making mistakes and just putting the ball on the other side. With men's, there is one more factor very important. I want to make ace, so I want to be protagonist of the fantastic victory. Anyway, of these cases, 2 or 3, nobody's thinking how to make serve goes there. What are the steps? About controlling respiration, having focus on the spot that you want to hit, to bring the ball in front of you, to prepare your arm, and to guide with your hand the ball exactly there. So you are not leaving the space for shit to stay in your head. I arrived on that. I was scared too, and I was lost too. But these things that I'm saying now, I arrive alone. And I'm very, very ready to share this with everybody, because I don't want our kids to be afraid when they're in the volleyball field, because I think they have to enjoy it. And our right and our duty is to help them to stay in the field with the smile. Because when the kids are with the smile in the field, they are enjoying. And this is the main mission that we have. Why then it's happening that every single shift that we are finishing, kids are crying at the end? Because they feel relief of the fear and they have enjoyed the camp extremely. They get some friends forever, and they understand that there is somebody who is taking care of them. It's very simple.
We have a nice question in here from Matt. Matt is asking, is there much of a difference in the approach to teaching volleyball globally? Okay, in terms of federations or organizations or coaches trying to develop in terms of developing for competitive sport versus trying to develop the person? And do you think an approach like yours, which focuses on developing the person and using sport as the tool to develop a person, could still have a positive effect on developing good, strong, competitive players as well?
Now, there are 2 kinds of coaches. Coaches of process and coaches managers. Coaches of process are building the players. Coaches managers are managing the players. So these 2 distinguished roles or natures are very, very different. I don't know any coach who is very and extremely good in both. Okay, why? Because forming the players mean to focus on his fundamentals and growing him as a person. And managing him means guiding him on behalf of our ideas and commandments. As I said before, only complete personality can be stable personality and give us result on Pulse 200 when it's the final of the Olympic Games or World Championship or whatever. Culture of the sport is a warranty that players will understand what coaches want to tell them. Now, the question that he made, I will tell you one more thing. If I know how to make Olympic champions, yes, but that's the secret. Because coaching of extreme talents is not the same as coaching the rest of the kids. As preparing Olympic champions since they are youngest is not the same like preparing other kids. It's different. It's not Sparta, but it's not very far from it.
Okay.
Because permissive education, where you have and watching all the pedagogic aspects, etc., 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 have as a goal to be focused on complete growth of 360 degrees. When we understand that kids are extremely talented, then we can work with them in a different way. But I will ask you and others, would you give me your kid to work with him my way?
Sure.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Because my way is to bring them to 100% every single day. This is what Olympic champions do.
Mm.
So this means that I will test him and I will guide him and I will hit him, not physically, but I will challenge him to push himself over and over and over again. Olympic champions are not those who have a medal, which are on the podium and listening to national anthem. That's fake. Even in my national team, there were 2 players that never entered any game of Olympic Games, but they're Olympic champions. And their behavior is not like Olympic champions, but that's not the point. Olympic champion is the guy that can be anyone who is waking up in the morning, and since he opened his eyes, his only goal is to give just a little bit more than he gave yesterday. It's a philosophy of living. It's very rare, but this is exactly the difference between Olympic champions and the other people. This is our personal decision. Would we be ready to do that or not? Everybody can be that, but very small number of us is ready to sacrifice himself for that. Yes, training of top level players, top athletes is particular. It's not the same because the conditions of the air up there is different. And to live and maintain themselves on that level, they have to maintain themselves and train different levels. How? It's a secret.
We have a question here from Nadia. She's asking, what's the best age group to focus on if you're only starting out as a coach? What age in the model would you would you recommend beginner
Now,
coaches?
I will give back question to Nadia. With which age group she's feeling more confident?
Okay.
That's the best way. Why? You have to try from the youngest until seniors. And you have to see with which group you are feeling the most in every single sense. Because on my camp, for example, I have divided coaches and they have been specialized for a certain age. There is very small number of the coaches, which could be 2 or even 3 groups, because they have understood the process. For example, I have 3 girls, they are working with the youngest girls or boys. They're fantastic. They're more animators and they are introductors in the sport or into volleyball. They're really fantastic. Then we have others which are from that animation, slowly bigger introduction into volleyball. And then at the end, we have a professor of sport and physical education, which is a great friend of mine who's working with the boys, which is using everything he have to work with the boys. And I'm sure that him in that age is one of the best in the world. But I'm not sure that he would be very good also with the seniors. Because his idea, philosophy, mentality is exactly for that age. So it's always not we are choosing the group. No, is to understand who we are. And it's always behind of us. We have to know ourselves. We have to be honest to ourselves. We have to, because kids are helping us to become better persons also. So in this sense, I believe that we have to also understand how to recognize ourselves in which group we have to participate.
Okay. Nadia, I hope that answers the question. Another question from Jana, and it kind of comes back to what we were discussing earlier around personality. How do you strike the balance between, when it comes to team selection, between choosing players that have the right personality and attitude, so they work hard, they train hard, they're positive, versus picking the players that are better but perhaps don't quite have that same attitude, but still, you're still trying to get results? How do you get the balance?
You don't choose them. They are just simply like that. Normally, the leaders expose themselves in the groups, and normally other kids are following them. There's a very nice stat that my friend from Holland, Martinus, have done as like motoric tests to understand, are you competitor or you are just for process, which means, do you like to be challenged or you just need to number of the repetition to feel yourself inside. On behalf of that, you understand what kind of team you have. Is your team more competitive or your team is more for process? And it was fantastic experience with him last year, and generally collaboration with him. Kids have their character, but it doesn't mean that they will show their character at the age that we are training. You have to follow them. For example, for the first time, I show my character with 16 years. And I was shy. I never expressed myself. I was never yelling, etc., etc. I was always silent, And for the first time, when I expressed my opinion publicly, I had 21 years. Some things of our character, mostly psychologically and emotionally, it doesn't have to mean that they have to be shown up with development of physical skills. It should be but it's not always balanced. As I was the one who's maturing later on, that's why actually it was happening. But um, also too many leaders in the team could cause problems. For example, I like competitors. I really like them, but they are also to be canalized and focused into. I played in a lot of teams where was a lot of leaders. There was a conflict of personalities, but always when you have this kind of situation, always what is the goal? The goal is supposed to be the satisfaction for everybody. Let's play everybody together. So, yeah.
Okay, we have a question from Michael over in County Mayo here in Ireland, and it's a question it's come up 3 or 4 times tonight. So it's a common issue around having, say, a group of 12 or 16 players, but with a huge difference in ability. Do you have any practical tips for how a coach can keep the 2 or 3 or 4 players?
Number one coach cannot work with group of 12 or 16 kids with the different capabilities.
Okay.
It has to be 2. That's number one. Then this means that selection was not done properly, or when you have this kind of situation, then you have to focus on work with the groups with disbalanced selection, which means you divide those more capable and those less capable, and then you make combination within 2 teams more or less balanced. They will track each other. So those who are less capable, they will come before. But there is also one more problem. Those who are more capable, their progress will be slower, for sure, because to improve themselves and be better, they need to play with better than them. That's also true.
Sure.
But also involvement of more coaches is very, very important. My groups on the camp are 15, 16 with 2 coaches. It's much easier to work and much easier to follow.
Yeah. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, we have 3 more sessions coming up each Monday at 7 p.m. for the next 3 weeks. So there's a few other questions that have come in there that are kind of related to specific ages, which I think we'll save for next week so we can dig into them in a little bit more detail.
No problem.
So that's kind of the end of the questions that we have in from the audience tonight. Just like to thank everybody for taking part in our first of our Vladimir Grbic Coach Education series. And Vladimir, thank you very much for your time this evening and to contributing to the development of all our coaches and players here in Ireland and as well across Europe. So thank you.
Have to say something about it, or?
I suppose so. Yeah.
It's always pleasure to share knowledge and experience. It's always, if we can do something for our kids, and also if we can do something for you coaches, it's always great pleasure. I'm preparing the platform, educational platform, which could be much more or much easier to communicate with the coaches, maybe even with the more specific cases, not only regarding, let's say, this, but also other aspects in the problems with the work with the coaches. But generally, among coaches, there is no big desire to share experience or something like that, because coaches are thinking that somebody will steal from them something. Knowledge is something that you cannot steal. I can give to all coaches all exercises, everything they do, but the main problem is that I am the one who is guiding the show, and nobody can do that better than me, or at least not in the way I do. So, you know, whatever I can to help volleyball to grow, um, it's my duty and my mission to those before me. I was inspired by many players, many coaches before me. I watched them play, teach, do. Now it's my time to share my knowledge and my experience to those who are coming after me. And while I will be able to do that, I will do that gladly. Actually, in my camp, we have educations at least 3 times per week. This year, my brother will be on my camp. He will also share some experience on top level volleyball, specific cases for the tactics, specific cases for work with the setters, etc., etc., etc. So I think it's going to be very interesting too.
Perfect. Guys, just to say, we'll send a summary with the notes from this evening to you via email, with a reminder and an invite to join next week's webinar. It's the same link. So the link and the password that you have for tonight, that's the same one you'll use for the next 3 weeks. We have a small number of places left available. So if you have any coaching friends, perhaps school teachers or other parents that you think may be interested and get some value from this, please feel free to pass that on. Get them to register. And we can share Vladimir's fantastic insights and knowledge, his gift to us all. So thank you guys, and Vladimir, thank you again so much. We'll see you next week.
You're welcome.
Cheers, guys.
So
thank you.
See you next Monday.
Cheers. Good night.
Night.